Hi, welcome to Undead Yarns. This is episode 49. My name is Heidi, and you can find me on Ravelry as Nitty Girl, and on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter as Nitty Girl 1, and that's the number 1. Hi, everybody. It's been a whirlwind of a week. I came back from SSK on Sunday, and got back into dyeing pretty much right away. Monday morning, went back to dyeing Monday morning, and it's funny. I know I've been dyeing a lot, but I still feel like I have a lot left to do before Stitches Texas, which luckily is not until the middle of September. Anyway, let me move back a little bit. Looks like my head's getting cut off there. Well, let me go ahead and get started with what I'm working on. And I will be showing you guys some of the stuff I bought at SSK, but not everything all at once. I'll show you a little bit each week. This is a fat squirrel bag. I don't think she's sold the small bags before, but I love this one. It was between this one and a blue one, and I ended up picking this one, and I was so glad because then she showed me the inside. I hadn't even looked inside yet, but look how pretty it is. It's such a pretty bag. In here, I have my first work in progress. This is I'm almost done with the first sock in this. I can't remember if I showed this last time. I don't think I did. This is a new colorway that I've been working on in my sport weight yarn, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. And I just posted last night on Instagram that I am a sport weight convert. It fits me so snugly, and it's cushy. It's more cushy than regular sock yarn. No, I haven't put it on with a shoe yet, but I'm sure I can wear these with my sneakers at least. And I'm doing this simple Skype pattern. And I did not write down who that was by. Unfortunately, I don't have it in here right now, but I will put a link to whoever the pattern designer is in the show notes. Well, you know, my earburn notes. I have not named this colorway yet. This is the only skein I've dyed up so far, and the color is not showing true there. That's much better. That's what the color is. It's a dark gray with a variegated stripe. I haven't named this one yet. But that's my first work in progress, and that's on, I think these are probably Addies. They look like Addies to me. I don't think they're Chigu. But they might be the Addi Turbo, the new Addi Turbos that everybody likes, because I remember I bought an Addi size 1 and it was not a US size 1, and then my foot, it didn't fit my foot very well, because I used them with fingering weight yarn, but it's perfect for this, for sport weight. So that's my first work in progress, and I have 2 others. I only brought 3 things to work on, and they're all socks. Well, actually, I brought 2 things to work on, and I started on a new one while I was there, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. I also have been working on my Gail's Art sock blank, which was, I believe it was called July 4th Fireworks, something like that. And this is not true to color, but I'm sure if I get it, yeah, see, it's a nice dark blue into, the pink is a little bit more saturated than that, but it looks like fireworks. And I'm almost done the first sock on that one. Both of these, this one is not a pattern, this is just a vanilla sock. And both socks I showed you both have heel flaps. And so those are 2 things. And this is in my Black Horse Knitter bag. And I've shown this one before. It's the Sugar Skull bag. This bag, I put 3 projects in it. It's a medium-sized bag, but I was able to fit 3 projects in here. I put the 3rd one in the Fat Squirrel bag after I bought it because it was so cute. I just wanted to use it. And while I was at SSK, I took a class with Susan B. Anderson on shawl shaping. And basically, she gave us recipes for different shawl designs and or shawl shapes. and we were encouraged to design our own. Now, I'm designing my own, but I'm probably not going to write this up. If I do, it would be a free pattern because it's not anything that's difficult. I think her class was really amazing. She asks and answers questions very thoughtfully, and she's so cute. she's really nice too. She's very approachable, and she also gave us some little side tips and tricks that I really liked. She has a way of teaching that I've had a few other people do that I find helpful, that you have a couple people come up and actually watch you do something behind you so they can see your hands and everything and what you're doing. And I found that I've had a couple of a knitting teacher, spinning teacher, a few teachers have done that, and I find that helpful. And after that, she went around and talked to everybody in the class, and the class just flew by. It was wonderful. So I started a shawl design, and it's, like I said, it's simple. I'm not doing anything difficult. I want something for a show sample, and I love the semicircular shawls. This is a semicircular shawl, and you have to increase every certain number of rows, and then I decided I'm going to do a simple eyelet, random eyelets here and there. I have one. I think I've done maybe 2 or 3 so far. Looks like I've just done 2 so far. So this is my shawl design, but like I said, it's not going to be anything that you couldn't figure out on your own if you really wanted to. So I'll either just do this for my show sample, because this is my new base. I think I talked about before. I had started knitting a shawl with some of this yarn. This is an alpaca silk and cashmere blend, and I was knitting a shawl by Mary Jane Mucklestone, and I didn't finish it in time. So I think I'm going to use this one, because this one I actually dyed. The other one was just natural gray undyed yarn, but I've dyed this one, so now this is Undead yarn. So I'm going to use this probably for a show sample. And I do have a couple of skeins. I have one skein of this color. This is Dino. And I have one skein of this color in the shop right now. And I also wanted to mention, I forgot to tell you guys that I have a coupon code right now. I am one of the people who is sponsoring Into the Wool. There's a lot of us. And I'm offering a coupon code to them, and I'm going to make it available to y'all too. It's, if you type in Into the Wool for the month of July, you'll get 20% off anything in the shop. So those are all the things that I've been working on. And I have one FO. I guess you could, well, I don't know if it's a hoe or a foe. But, oops, I don't know how many yards I have yet, but I've been spinning for Team Willy Wonka and Team Caffeinated, the Caffeinated Knitting Podcast, and I finished plying the first 2 ounces. I wish it would focus better. There's some pinks and yellows and greens in here, and every once in a while there's a little pop of orange. And I'm just doing a 2-ply. This is the first 2 ounces. I don't know how many yards I have, because like I said, I haven't put it on my skein winder yet, so I don't know how many yards I have, but that's my finished object for the week. What else did I want? I wanted to mention thank you to Dancing Geek. I sent him a skein of yarn because I really enjoy his podcast, and I love how he's so open with sharing his ideas and his life, and I appreciate him. And he loves orange like me. So I sent him a skein of yarn, and he said thank you, and I appreciate that. I also wanted to mention that I've been watching a few new podcasts. I found they're both video podcasts. I found this new video podcast through the Yarn Spinner's Tale, and she's been podcasting for a long time. She's an audio podcast, and she mostly focuses on spinning, and I've been very interested in listening to and watching more spinning podcasts because I want to get to be a better spinner. And while I was listening to her, she mentioned that somebody that lives in her area has a podcast and that she dyes fiber. And so I went and looked her up. Her name is Benita, and she has the Fiber Pusher podcast. If you like different crafts, you should definitely watch her because she not only does knitting and spinning. I'm not sure she crochets. I've only seen a couple episodes. But she is learning bobbin lace, and I believe she was the one who was weaving. Maybe it's not tapestry. No, it was, I believe it was weaving on an inkle loom maybe. But she does a lot of crafts, so her podcast was very interesting to watch. And then I started watching Victorian Studios with Maureen, and she is from Canada, I believe. And she has the most amazing workshop. If you look behind her, it reminds me of, well, I guess that's why she's Victorian Studios. It reminds me of a Victorian craft room, maybe you would call it. She has a lot of those skinny shelves, the brown skinny shelves with lots of drawers. She has ribbons, and she must do a lot of different kinds of crafts. I know that on her podcast she also has talked about cross stitching, but she does a lot of knitting, and her knitting is interesting because she likes to do color work and things that are kind of intricate. So if you are looking for 2 new podcasts, those are 2 new ones to check out. Oh, and of course, if you haven't seen The Dancing Geek, you need to watch him. He's very entertaining. You need to get a cuppa when you're going to go watch him, though, because he has some longer podcasts. And today I'm drinking some green tea. So, week in review. I don't even remember what happened before SSK. That's mostly what, probably what I'll talk about for week in review. We got there on Wednesday, and I spent most of the time that I was there with my friend Bookish Stitcher. She had gone to SSK last year, and so she had one of her friends from home was there, and another person whose Ravelry name was Ironical Knitter, who she said that she is part owner in a yarn shop where she lives. So I mostly hung out with those 3, and I had a really good time. It was a lot of fun. And also the first night we all, not just us, but a bunch of other people went out to a really good Thai restaurant, and that food was delicious. I think I had I had seafood curry. It was really, really good. And I like stuff that's really spicy. It was eye-watering spicy, but it was delicious. So I enjoyed that. And then the next day was Thursday, and Thursday in the afternoon they had these breakout sessions. A couple of people had offered to do breakout sessions, and I took one from a lady named Continental Kim, and you might have heard of her. I don't know how I've heard of her, but maybe because she's a prolific spinner, and she offered to do a short class on supported spindling. And she made it look so easy, and it looks like you could just sit on the couch and spin. And I can't do that with my spinning wheel, and I can't do that with drop spindles or Turkish spindles. I can't just sit there. I kind of am on the edge of my seat when I'm spindling. And she made it look so easy. Now, it wasn't easy for me, but if it's like every other thing that I've had with spinning, practice will just improve my skills, and hopefully I can one day spin like her. I would love to get a supported spindle. If any of you guys, she gave us a list of people to check out, but I'm open to hearing about other supported people who sell supported spindles, because I am interested in getting one. I would like to get something that's pretty good, but I'm not looking to pay a golding price. Something a little bit less expensive would be great, but something that is good quality and spins well. And the fun thing about the supported spindle is you spin it and it just keeps spinning and spinning and spinning, whereas the drop spindle doesn't spin that long. It's a shorter amount of time that it spins. And it looked like so much fun. I basically was kind of not good at it, and I made a spindle fly across the room. Hopefully luckily nobody was hurt. No spindles were broken in the flying across the room incident either. But yeah, that was fun. And then that evening, we got to meet up with Mary Gale, who is the dyer behind Spartacus Dies, and just say thank you for driving us around. We went to the Mellow Mushroom, and I really liked that pizza place. They have pizza that basically anybody could have. They have gluten-free pizza, they have dairy-free cheese, they have all kinds of different options. And I've eaten there only twice, because both times it was when I was in Nashville, and they're just delicious. But apparently they do have that chain in other places, but we don't have that in Texas, at least not in Austin. So that was fun, and we drove over to Amy's Ice Cream, or not Amy's, Jenny's Ice Cream. Amy's is in Austin. Jenny's Ice Cream. And I thought what I had was pretty good, but I was a little disappointed because people seemed to rave about Jenny's, and I liked it, but they didn't have anything that was chocolate, which I was like, how can you not have a chocolate ice cream? Plus, the one I really wanted to try was gone. It was some kind of almond cinnamon brittle or something like that. So anyway, now I can say I had Jenny's, but it's I kind of like Ben and Jerry's and Baskin Robbins better. Don't flail me. Anyway, it was really nice to meet up with her, and I am going to be in her Gilmore's Girl Club. She actually got me to watch Gilmore Girls because she was posting different pictures from the show, and I didn't realize that some people who are really famous now were on that show before they became famous, like Melissa McCarthy and Jared Padalecki. I was so surprised. So when I found out they were both in it, I had to watch it. So it's kind of fun. It's not a thing I would normally watch because there's no supernatural element. And I don't know, maybe it might take me a few more episodes to get in. I watched 3 episodes, I think, but I'm curious to see where the characters go from here. So anyway, that was the second night, and then on Fridays when I had the class with Susan B. Anderson, and she's a wonderful teacher, and she's very knowledgeable. So if you have not taken a class from her, you definitely should. And, you know, I've never watched her podcast, and now I'm going to have to check it out, because I until we had signups for SSK and for the classes, I thought she only did toys. I had no idea until I was doing the SSK knit-alongs and found out that she did the Yowza Weigh It shawl. Like, how did I not know this? So anyway, I'm going to check out her podcast now, and if you ever have a chance to take a class with her, I would. She's an excellent teacher. And then let's see, the last day was the market. And then that evening we had closing ceremonies. And the closing ceremonies, it was funny. The first night they had opening ceremonies, and during the opening and the closing ceremonies, they give away all kinds of products, mostly yarn, but you know, other products too, like spindles and needle holders and free into SSK, lots of different things. So the first night I didn't win anything, but one of the people I was with won 2 things the first night. So even if you won one thing, it didn't mean you couldn't win again. So some people actually did win multiple times. But I did win the last night, and I was so excited because it was something I really wanted. I won the skein of Marigold Jen, and I don't have any Marigold Jen, and I've always wanted to try her, so I was very excited, and it's a really beautiful color. She had a couple skeins, and I tried for one the first night. It was a rainbow color, and then the last night she had, I think it was a solid green, and then she had this. And look at that. Look at, it's mostly blue, but it's just got pops of everything in there. It's so gorgeous. And this is called Midsummer Night. And it is 70% merino, 30% silk. And this is nice. I believe this is the same base I use too. but I haven't knit with it yet. But I just love her dyeing job. The colors are just beautiful. I can't wait to knit with this. So I was so excited to win this. And then, so not only that, but we also had the market. So I will go ahead and show you some stuff, some of the things I bought. I'm not going to show you everything today. I'll kind of spread it out, but I'm going to show you a couple things that I bought. The first thing I got was when I walked in, there was the booth for Jelly and Wool Pierogi, and I knew I wanted these stitch markers she had posted on Instagram. I'm telling you, posting on Instagram is really, really smart. These are SSK stitch markers. I got the purple ones. There were purple ones and silver ones. And I had to have these because I love the Snaglish stitch markers. And I thought that would be a perfect memento. It says SSK on it. And then I saw she also posted this, and I was like, I want this one. I really want this one because I love Nightmare Before Christmas. So she made a little tin. And that's cool because I can put all my stitch markers in here, which I'm going to put the other ones in here after I'm done showing y'all because I'm ready to use them. So here are some similar stitch markers. I believe these are blue though. These are blue. And the SSK ones are purple. And here is the lobster claw one. It's Jack. How perfect is that? So I was so happy to get these, and she only had 2 of these, so I'm glad I was able to get one. So that was my first purchase. And let's see, what did I do after that? Oh, I don't have everything in order of the way that I picked it out. I just picked a few things to show you guys today. This may have been the second thing I got. I know that I wanted to go to Leading Men Fiber Arts because I had already bought this shawl, but because I was one of the first 100 customers to buy something from his booth. I got the Wild Goose Shawlette by Paula Emmons Feasley. You know, of Prairie Piper, and she does a podcast, and she does all those knitting retreats. And I wanted this colorway. I knew I was going to get this from Leading Men Fiber Arts. This is their July colorway, and it's Mornings in the Backyard. And I love the gold, and it's the gold and green and blue. And this is something, you know, I probably would not dye, but it does have my favorite gold color in there, and I thought it was just gorgeous. And this shawlette is specifically, I'm trying not to cover my face so people can see my lips move. This is specifically for highly variegated skeins of yarn, and that's why it's called Wild Goose, because you can use any wild yarn you want to knit it. So this is going to be a Wild Goose, and this is the showcase base, and it's 490 yards and 100% superwash merino, and I have not used this base before, so I look forward to using it. It feels really nice. Let's see, what else did I bring over? I just brought over a couple of things. I didn't want to show everything at once. I think this may be all I have with me right now. I also went to Ross Farms, and I bought something from them last year. I haven't spun it yet, but I bought some of their Leicester long wool last year to spin. And this year I decided I wanted to get some yarn because I haven't spun my Leicester long wool yet, and it's a small amount, so it's going to have to be something small. And I wanted to make something that was larger, so I decided I was going to get some of their yarn. And the nice thing is about this, they raise their own sheep. I think a lot of you have probably heard of Ross Farm before. They specialize in rare breeds, and Leicester is a rare breed. So both of these yarns that I bought 2 of them, and I want to make a very nice, heavy, warm shawl. For some reason, because it's brown, probably it makes me think of Talia's horse blanket from from Pinhook and Needles, but this is not going to be a horse blanket because it's not that rough. It's not the softest, but it's also not the roughest. So I think this is going to be a wonderful shawl to curl up in when it gets cold out. I'm not sure what I'm going to make yet, but let me tell you, this one is from the sheep Hannah, and this one is a Shetland Leicester breed, Shetland Leicester blend, 3-ply worsted, and then this one is a Romney Leicester blend, and they're both 3-ply worsted, both have 250 yards, and this sheep is named Letitia. And it's funny, when I was talking to, I don't know her name, because I see her as Ross Farm on Instagram. But the woman who runs Ross Farm, I was talking to her and I said, who'd ever think of naming a sheep Letitia? She said, you have enough sheep, you get creative. And I enjoyed talking to her. She and her husband are both very passionate about their yarns. Her husband was in the supported spindling class learning how to spindle. He actually did better than some of the rest of us. He was real quiet about it, but I looked over and he was doing pretty good. And he was using his own Shetland. He said that's his favorite sheep breed. He loves Shetland. So I believe they have Leicester. They obviously have Leicester, Shetland, and Romney, and then they do some mixing of the breeds. So that's where these come from. I think this is going to make a really lovely warm shawl. I have about 500 yards, so I need to think of a 500-yard shawl that can be knit in worsted weight. And I don't want a crescent, because that's not going to keep me warm. I want something bigger than that, so I'm going to look into that. Let's see where I am on my notes. I don't want to forget. I have to take notes because I have stuff, so much I want to tell you guys, and I forget. And I also meant to mention, I don't know if I've mentioned, I think I mentioned Bookish Stitcher. She has a podcast. If you don't watch her podcast, you really should. If you like to read, and I'm sure that if you're watching me, you probably do. If you really enjoy reading, she reviews a book every single week that she really has enjoyed. And she also has a lot of knitting, and she knits very fast. So she has lots of projects. She has more projects that she completes than I do. But I think I've mentioned her before. But I wanted to make sure I mentioned her because she was so sweet. And I kind of tagged along with her on a lot of things during SSK. There was one day that I did sit down at the tables in the SSK room and just got to know some new people, and it was really funny. There was one person sitting, I went and sat down, and then a bunch of other people came and sat, and we were all first-time SSK people. I thought that was really interesting. We all kind of gravitated together. I would name them, but I don't know all their names right now. I'm going to see if I can get a list of them. And I also wanted to mention that when I was waiting in line for the SSK market to open in the morning, I met another dyer, and her name is Cajun Knitter. That's not her name, that's her Ravelry name, and her name on Instagram, I believe. And she has an Etsy shop, and she does all self-striping. And I think she said she's been doing this for a couple of months. So you can check her out. I believe that, I can't remember exactly what her Etsy shop is, but if you find her on Instagram or on Ravelry, you can probably find a link to it. Yes, now I'm gonna talk about the Podiversary contest. I had to write that down because I knew I would forget that. So I'm a note taker. I have to be a note taker. The days when I don't, I always forget to tell you guys stuff. Excuse me, I'm gonna take a little sip. So anyway, when I had a lot of nice feedback from people in the second Podiversary thread. And I will be sending out the yarn that I showed y'all before, that is my neon gradient kit. And it's not a full gradient kit. This one's a little smaller. There's about 300 yards in it. And I will be sending that out to number 20, entry number 20, and her name is Try Linda. And she is Linda from Southampton, Pennsylvania. So Linda, when you hear this, PM me your address, and I will send you your group of, what did I call that? Apocalypse? Rainbow Apocalypse. The Rainbow Apocalypse gradient. I will send that to you, so please send me your address. I wanted to mention that there are a few new colors up in the shop, and I'm still working on even more new colors. This one is a roadkill, and it is my merino silk base. That's fairly true to color. If you go on the website, you'll get a better sense of it. It's really bright yellow and some pops of orange in it. It's a neon yellow, so it's not showing up as bright here, but it's very bright. I would go on the website to see what this is a one of a kind. This is a roadkill. And this one is a self-striping, and it's a variegated self-striping. It's blue, and then the other stripe is orange and yellow and brown. And I wasn't sure what to call this, so I put it on Instagram and said, do you guys have any suggestions? And somebody said cornflower, and I said, well, it's got to be horror themed. And sort of a knitter said, how about children of the corn, ... flower. And I went with it. Thanks, Josh. That's a really good colorway for this one. I was going to just call it Children of the Corn, but I thought his was better, so thank you. And I think, I also have dyed up a bunch of purple vein, and that's on a couple of different bases. One of them will be in the new DK base, which is the merino cashmere nylon base, and I will be posting those as soon as they're dry. And I think that is almost everything. The last thing I wanted to do is mention that I'm still running my knit spin dye knit along, and you can knit or crochet with indie dyed yarn. You can spin 4 ounces. It doesn't have to be plied. Just spin it and post a picture of your singles if you want. You don't have to ply it. Or you can dye a skein of yarn, and dyeing takes, believe it or not, it doesn't take a whole lot of time. You can just put the skein in a pot and some Kool-Aid, and it's pretty quick. It's not a long process. So I encourage you to do all those things. I've had several people post some finished objects. I actually had a couple of people post some dyed skeins of yarn. One of them, I believe it was Bunnyfish, she had dyed with her son. So that's something fun you can do with your kids. You can dye some yarn with Kool-Aid, and it's relatively safe. So any of those things, you can enter them. It doesn't matter to me when you started them. Mostly I'm talking about the spinning and the knitting. It's okay if you started it before July 1st, but it needs to be finished between the dates of July 1st and September 15th. So we're running that contest, and I have several prizes. The first one is a skein of Lang jaw wool, which I showed you a couple weeks ago. And another one is a braid of superwash BFL top from Hambly Fibers. Another prize that we have is the Rambler cowl, which was generously donated by Lisa Beamer of Fiber Nymph Dye Works. Thank you, Lisa. And 3 patterns from Franciscan Gypsy Designs. I have not decided yet if I'm going to give them all together or if I'm going to split them up. Maybe I'll see how many people enter. If we have a lot of entries, maybe I'll split them up. And maybe if we don't have a lot of entries, somebody will get 3 patterns. And she likes to design toys, so if you're a toy knitter crocheter, this is for you. I also have a $20 gift certificate or coupon from Roundabout Yarns, and she's been posting a lot on Instagram. She has some lovely colorways, so if you have not checked her out, I would go check her out. Check out her Etsy shop, or follow her on Instagram. I believe her name is Roundabout Yarn on Instagram, but I would definitely recommend checking her out. She's got some nice stuff. And then another thing that we have is a bag from Black Horse Knitter, and she's the one who made the skull bag, the sugar skull bag that I have. And it's very well made, and she has several sewing machines. She's been sewing for a long time, so these are nice bags. She's in the process of renaming her shop. I believe she's going to rename it after her podcast, which is Me, My Dog, and Some Yarn. And she is another fellow Texan. She lives in Houston. So I have all those prizes to give out, and I'm looking forward to checking out everything you guys have done. It's been really neat to see all the indie dyed yarns knit up, and I think we've had any spinning yet. I'd love to see some spinning, you guys. Anyway, I think that's all for this week. Yeah, I need to round it up because it's hard to. It seems like it gets harder and harder to reduce these episodes. So I try to keep it to 30 minutes, and I'm at 35 now, so I better go. Anyway, I hope to talk to you guys again next week. And with that, get busy knitting or get busy dying.